Max Domi was fined $5,000 for his late hit on Sasha Barkov at the end of Game 4 Sunday, but Craig Berube was more focused on the missed call on the hit from Dmitry Kulikov on Mitch Marner.
The Kulikov hit on Marner was 10 times worse. So,
did you get an explanation for why that went uncalled? Yes,
no.
Berube was also asked about the struggles of Marner, who hasn't had a shot the last 2 games. Auston Matthews is yet to score a goal in the series.
Just stick with what he's doing and don't get too frustrated with anything, because it's not just about scoring goals. He's got a lot of other stuff he does really extremely well for us. And big goals coming. You know, that's the way you got to think about it. And I think there's times where we could put more pucks on net at angles, bad angles, just firing it in there with people going in the net. You never know, it goes off somebody, rebounds or anything like that. So I think Mitch could just be a little bit more direct in that area. 2 games without a shot, he's got to shoot the puck.
All right, we're back with Craig Button. So we're going to break it down. Marner and Matthews. We'll start with Matthews. Just 2 goals in the playoffs so far, none in the second round at all. But, you know, Craig Berube said it. He does a lot of other things for us. So do you believe, other than the lack of goal production, he is actually playing okay? And what can they do to get that offense going?
Yeah, well, I'll answer the first question. And you know, he is doing some other things well. And he's going to occupy the attention of the opponent because he's dangerous, and you have to keep that in mind. Now, when you consider that Auston Matthews is an elite goal scorer, and he's brilliant, a couple of things that have happened this year for him, and there's been a lot of talk about ailments. So yeah. I don't know if he is or isn't, but the velocity on his shot is almost down 10 miles per hour.
Right.
That's pretty significant. That's like a fastball pitcher losing some speed on his fastball. So maybe he can't score in the same way that he did with the velocity. And when you start to understand that teams are going to defend a lot harder in the area around the net, you may have to think about changing some things up. Maybe use them as a decoy, maybe use them in a different way. And I'm going to show you an example of what I'm talking about. And the Washington Capitals did it against Carolina. So look where Ovi is. That's not his office. He's up at the right point. And now what does it do? It changes the focus of the Carolina Hurricanes. They got to be aware of Ovi up there. I wouldn't be, because I'm going, wait, that's a good spot. What happens is John Carlson slips in behind, and now because you change up things and give a different look to the opponent, you get a goal out of that. Because Ovi was struggling at that point in time in terms of putting the goal in. So why keep frustrating a player? Say, hey, we're going to do some different things here, maybe the schematics, and then try to do something different. That's what I'd be doing with Auston Matthews.
Let's talk about Mitch Marner. Coming off the 4 Nations and then a terrific first-round series, 7 of his 12 points so far in the playoffs came in the first round. Just 5 points in 6 games since. Listen, he's got a new baby at home. Things are happening. There's lots of stuff happening in his life. So let's at least keep that in mind. But what are you seeing in his actual game that maybe might concern you?
Well, again, I'm going to talk about, you know, where you have to score from. And you score goals from inside the dots, below the circles, below the dots. And you heard Craig Berube talk about, you know, be more direct. Well, be more direct getting inside. He's taken a lot of lofters from outside. I get it, you're throwing pucks to the net. But what Craig Berube wants is him to get deeper in there. You're not going to score if you're Mitch Marner on a slap shot from 58 feet. You just can't. And this is a shot you're just trying to loft in there for a second opportunity, a tip. But this round, as opposed to last round, he's not playing inside.
Yeah.
He's playing outside the guts of the action. And when you're playing outside the guts of the action, which is out, you know, above the circles and outside the dots, you're not going to be dangerous. And nobody's even worried about you when you're out there. When Mitch Marner's playing direct and he's attacking, he's going to open up a lot more things because he's got a brilliant mind and vision. And he's got brilliant hands to finish. But when you're out there, you're not a threat.
Game 5, Wednesday, back in Toronto. As for the Winnipeg Jets, they're set to take on the Dallas Stars in Game 4 on Tuesday. In Dallas, Jets say they're putting that controversial goal in Game 3 behind them. They're turning their attention to Game 4. And as we all know, the Jets have struggled on the road in the postseason. 0-4, they've been outscored 22-7.
A great coach once told me, and I've told our group this, is that there isn't a home or a road way to play. There's only the right way. And, you know, we have a certain style that we're accustomed to playing and how we play, and we've been doing it all year long. You know, this is game 93 coming up, and we got to get back to being that road team that we were, you know, for the 82 games and being better.
They're obviously they're a very good hockey team, but they're not reinventing the wheel. They're not doing anything that we can't handle. Everything's in our control, and you know, we can do a few things different, and I think we're going to find success when we do that.
First of all, what great coach do you think told Scott Arniel that there's no road way or home way to play, there's only the right way? I like that.
It is the right way because
Yeah.
you know, it's a good road game.
Yeah.
Don't get me started, Jay.
Okay, what?
There's too many cliches going on in sport that we got to get rid of.
I won't do that to you, Craig. But I do have a question for you. How do the Jets win a game on the road?
Well, that's a great question. And you know what? If I had the right answer, I wouldn't be here. I'd be right down in Dallas. I'd be getting compensated very nicely for the answer to that. Listen, they were an excellent team during the regular season, on the road and at home. But these 4 playoff games on the road have been abysmal, quite frankly. 22 goals against. I mean, that's just not who they are. Now, if they don't win Game 4 in Dallas, that means that they go home, that's great, but that means they got to try to find a way in a must-win game in Game 6. They got to have their best game on the road in Game 4. They got to get back to doing the things. I thought they were tepid in terms of the way they were going to play. They couldn't win a face-off. They didn't have the puck. They were kind of back up as Dallas was coming at them. Oh, yeah, that's exactly the template that St. Louis used. You better start playing the game forward and on your toes. And we know that Connor Hellebuck, you know, found his game in Game 7. I mean, after that second goal went in by Matthew Joseph, he was simply brilliant. I thought that Connor Hellebuck, prior to that point in time, was probably fighting himself more than anything else. But boy, did he find his game. And then he found it in Game 1 of the Dallas game, even though they lost. Game 2, he was excellent. He has to get back to doing the things that he does well, and he's shown that he's capable. He found it in Game 7. The Jets have to find their road game along with Connor Hellebuck in Game 4. Because if they don't find it in Game 4, well, now you're hoping that you get to a Game 6 and a must-win. I don't like that scenario of trying to find success after you've had 5 games where you were short.
You heard Cole Perfetti said it. It's not like the Jets or the Stars are reinventing the wheel or anything. They can play with them. And by the way, the Jets were your Stanley Cup picks. So are you still confident they can win this series?
Yeah. Well, no, there was a
second.
hesitation, but you have to hesitate to a certain point because you know you watch a team, and while you believe in them and they've shown a lot of good things, you still have to show that you're capable of holding on to, you know, that kind of vision. And right now they've shown some real flaws. And what happens in the playoffs, Jay, is every team's looking for the soft underbelly of your team. The Blues found it. Looks like the Stars have found it. If you keep exposing the soft underbelly, guess what? You're going to get tickled right out of the playoffs.
Wow. Sort of uncomfortable with that one. Game 4 Tuesday night in Dallas.